I have the honour of announcing AFI's film of the evening, which is none other than Pan's Labyrinth. Now, this film is, well, it's just one of my favourite films of all time. It is written and directed by the genius that is Guillermo del Toro, and it is a dark fantasy, to kind of categorise it. It follows the story of a young girl called Emilia, who is played by Ivana Baquero, if I'm not ruining the pronunciation of her beautiful name. And it takes place 5 years after the Spanish Civil War. And what you have is you have an intertwining of a stark reality of a very disturbing political landscape. Emilia arrives at a house with her ailing mother to meet her incredibly cruel and dictator-like stepfather, who is trying to squash a rebellion that is happening after the Spanish Civil War. And Emilia is left to entertain herself, and what she does is she finds herself in a magical, beautiful fantasy world led by a faun. And the actual translation of Pan's Labyrinth in Spanish is the Labyrinth of the Faun, but we've translated it to a faun-like creature in mythology that is called Pan, hence Pan's Labyrinth. You didn't need to know any of that, but I'm telling you anyway. And it is just sublime. You get to see it from Emilia's point of view, and the fantasy part of it is, in essence, just a complete fairy tale. Total and utter escapism, the most beautiful cinematography that you could ask for, and it's all narrated in a way that just takes you by the hand and leads you through this magical story. And you meet so many incredible creatures on the way, one of which still scares me to this day. Like, if anyone comes up to me and does this, I freak out, because that's one of the scariest things in it. But it really is a fairy tale. I've loved fairy tales my entire life, and I feel like the moral compass that is at the heart of this fairy tale is as prudent and as important as any of the fairy tales that we would have grown up with. And I just think that Guillermo's incredible mind and artistic eye, through the story of this fairy tale, takes us into this incredible land that is both reflected in the current climate in which this movie is set in 1944, and the incredible imagination of this young girl, Emilia. And I just can't rate it enough. It is just one of my most favourite films. And even if you don't like fantasy, this is highbrow fantasy. This is really an auteur's piece of dark fantasy, and it chills you and it warms you and it just leads you to a place of soaring possibilities and imagination. And it is a film that I return to every single year without fail. Sometimes I have to fast forward through that guy because it's just the most frightening thing I've seen in my entire life. But yes, Guillermo del Toro, we are not worthy. You are incredible. Please watch and enjoy this film. It is pretty scary and quite graphic, so if, age appropriate, if that's of any use to you guys. Otherwise, please watch and enjoy this film. Thank you so much, AFI, for asking me to introduce this. Sorry if I've done a botched job and have turned people away from watching this rather than turned people towards it. But do watch Pan's Labyrinth. It's incredible. You won't regret it.